Microsoft Fabric capacity settings are incredibly important. And to show you just how important they are, we're going to be working at a fake company today, Widget Inc. So, all you Widget employees, I hope you're excited to learn about Fabric capacity settings. Now, in all seriousness, welcome back to my Microsoft Fabric Study Guide series. Now, we are going to be talking about Fabric capacity settings, but I thought we would do something a little different. Instead of just going setting by setting and talking about what that setting actually does, we would go through some real life business scenarios, or, well, not real life, ones I've made up at Widget Inc., and we'd talk about why this setting might help in that scenario or to solve a specific problem. So let's go ahead and let's jump into the Microsoft Fabric admin portal. So here I am. I'm in my capacity settings. And I think that might be maybe the 20th time I've said capacity settings in the first minute of this video. But let's go ahead and let's talk about a business scenario where I would want to see my capacity usage report. So you see, Widget Inc. has this data analyst, Bob. Bob's kind of an intense guy. I hate to say it, but he kind of reminds me of myself. But Bob is constantly complaining about how slow our tenant is. And, it's something none of the other analysts seem to notice. Well, I ask Bob, hey, Bob, what time do you start your day? He goes 7 a.m. because, of course, he's the first one into the office at Widget Inc. Well, I realize he's the only one on here using the capacity at 7 a.m. The capacity usage report allows me to log in and see what's actually happening with the resources within our capacity to see what Bob's doing. Like, is his memory utilization super high? What's his problem? And that's where I would want to go to the capacity usage report. Now, let's just say I figure out what's going on. And it is he's just using a ton of our capacity. Well, that's where I can configure notifications. And I can have the notification be sent not only to myself as a capacity admin, but also to my boss, Frank. And, maybe for good measure, I want to let Bob know, hey, Bob, you're using too many resources. I can say, hey, Bob, I'm going to sign you up for this notification and enter in Bob's email address right here. Now, Widget Inc., we produce a lot of widgets. So we have our factory producing widgets 24/7. And that factory is streaming the data about how many widgets we produce every single second into our data lake with a minute latency. And our factory team has hired on a new Power BI analyst who's built a report that is using direct query right on top of the data lake. And frankly, the factory management team is complaining, hey, my Power BI report, it just keeps on bugging out. Hey, it doesn't have the most up-to-date data. Well, that is where we can go in and change some of these settings. So we can turn on automatic page refresh and have it look for new data every single second. We can fiddle with our XMLA settings. We can do all kinds of things here to allow our factory team to have a more usable report. And, maybe that factory team also likes to download some stuff into Excel. And so maybe we've configured a paginated report. Well, that's where this block outbound connectivity setting comes in. You see, well, our factory team is great at producing widgets. Frankly, they're not super hot on the whole data security thing. And we're working on a top secret new widget. It's called Widget 2. Well, in order to stop the details about Widget 2 leaking out to the public, we can go ahead and we can switch on this block outbound captivity. And that way, if any of our reports leak or are breached, those reports can't go and they can't connect to outside sources. They're trapped within our network. Speaking of the factory team, they just hired a new data scientist. And so now they have both a Power BI developer and a data scientist. Well, frankly, the Power BI developer isn't going to be doing much with Spark. So what we can do is we can give them a really small Spark starter pool by going in here into the data engineering and science and creating a small pool for him. And then we can create a much larger pool for our data scientist. That way he has the capacity, speed that he needs to do work. Finally, the last thing is that Widget Inc. just got a new CEO. Her name is Cindy. And Cindy is big on cost management cross departments. So she wants all of the workspaces and all of the compute to be separated for every single department. That's where we can go through and we can make sure that only the departments that are paying for this fabric capacity are actually assigned to the capacity and that they have an appropriate admin down here in this setting. So now we've had a busy day as a fabric capacity admin. So I hope after this video you realize just how important these fabric capacity settings are. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing and liking the video. And if you found this style annoying, why don't you maybe let me know down in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye.